Welcome, Wapham crew, guys, gals, ghouls, and otherworldly beings. Let's climb aboard the mothership, secure our tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your ghostess with the Mostess TessaTNT, and I am broadcasting from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It's an honor, a pleasure, and privilege to have you hanging out with me on the airwaves tonight, and I'm not just saying that, when I decided to put that in there, I was just like, man, everybody's gonna be like, I don't know, negative about it, but it really is, because otherwise, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here talking to my computer. But no, it really is, and I hope you really enjoy what I do, because otherwise, what am I doing this for? Except for I do enjoy it, but I always imagine you hanging out with me, so if you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it, or working out, you can listen to me on Spreaker.com and wherever else you listen to your podcasts and broadcasts, and you shall find me there. So, I'm not sure if you got the memo, but I decided, being that the kids are in school and, they do have a 3-day weekend, but I want them to have as much time enjoying the things that they enjoy. So I decided during school times, we'll do story time on Saturdays, and then we'll do trippy TikToks or other things on Sundays. Unless I have a guest on, then I might provide a Saturday, but it really just depends. The reason being is Century Stink really stinks. If you've listened, you know. But no, seriously. Storytime on Saturdays until summertime, which is mid-May. Let's say beginning of June. I'm hoping to get on with a fiber optic company. I am signed up, so hopefully that works out, but yeah. I'm just scraping by just like most everybody else I know, It's hard times out there, but we'll get through this. We shall see the light at the end of the tunnel. Alright, so being that it is story time with me, TessaTNT, we are going to be getting back into our book from Mr. Stehen King, You Like It Darker Stories. So this is a bunch of stories in one book. I'm not sure how many stories. There's not really a prologue as far as what is it called, an index to see what the chapters are. It just starts, and there it goes. Are you ready? I'm ready. Pretty sure I read this before, but I really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna just start at the very top of this first page. That'll get us back to last session we had together. The network of woods, roads, Pop, and Uncle Butch used to get Jealousy Creek was long gone. There's a housing development and a trailer park there now, both called Hemlock Run. Nor does TR90 exist. These days, it's the incorporated town of Pritchard, named for a local hero who died in Vietnam. It's still the 30-mile wood on maps and GPS. But now it's just 10 miles of forest, if that, maybe only 5. The rickety bridge is long gone, but there's another one, narrow but sturdy. A bit further downstream, it's Raison d'Etre, or d'Etre, is Grace of Jesus Baptist Church, which sits on the Pritchard bank of the creek. I drove across it and parked in the church lot, although that day the jealousy was so low I could almost have walked across it, and I thought to wear my waders. I made my way back upstream and found the broken stubs of the old bridge sunk deep into the weeds and ferns. I turned and saw the path to the cabin, now badly overgrown with bushes and brambles. It was marked by a sign that read, "No hunting, no trespassing, by order of game warden." I went carefully, fearing poison ivy or poison oak, through the bushes. A quarter of a mile, Plop had written, and I knew from my own trips out there, only a few, I had little interest in shooting creatures that couldn't shoot back. That was about right. I came to a locked gate I didn't remember. There was another sign on it, this one showing a frog over the words, "Hippity hoppity, get off my property." That's the part that's like, I love that. I need to make my own sign like that because my favorite critter is a frog. I also love butterflies, but yeah. Hippity hoppity off my property. Yeah, get that ass. One of Pop's keys opened the gate. I walked around a curve and there was the cabin. No one had maintained it. The roof hadn't caved in from years of snowfall, probably because it was partially protected by the interlaced branches of old-growth pine and spruce. But it was sway-backed and wouldn't last much longer. The board sides, once painted brown, were now a faded no color. The windows were bleared with dirt and pollen. The place was the very picture of desertion, but it apparently hadn't been vandalized, which I thought was sort of a miracle. Lines of some old poem probably read in high school occurred to me. Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread. I found the right key on Pop's ring and went inside to must and dust and heat. Also to the scribble-scrabble of the current tenants, mice or chipmunks, probably both. A deck of bicycle playing cards had been scattered across the eating table and on the floor, likely tossed by gusts of wind down the chimney. Once my father and his friend had played cribbage with those very cards. A fan of ash lay in front of the fireplace, but there was no graffiti, and no empty cans or liquor bottles. A circle was woven around this place, I thought. I told myself, scolded myself, and that is being ridiculous, but maybe I wasn't. Hemlock Run, both parts of it, was close. Surely kids would have explored this far into the woods, and surely hippity hoppity get off my property wouldn't have kept them away, but it seemed they had kept away. I looked at the sofa. If I sat on it now, dust would puff up in a cloud, and mice might flee from beneath, but I could imagine a young man with blonde hair sitting there. A stranger my Uncle Butch had drawn with stars for eyes. It was easier to believe it had actually happened now that I was out here in a cabin Pop and Uncle Butch had paid to keep safe, if not sound, until the middle of the century. Much easier. Had either of them come out here again, possibly to retrieve a case that looked like it might contain spectacles? Not Butch, at least, not once. He went off to the West Coast, but I don't think my father had either. They were done with it, and although I was Pop's heir, I felt like an intruder. I crossed the room and looked on the mantel, expecting nothing, but the gray case was there, covered by a scrim of dust. I reached for it and winced as I closed my hand around it, as if afraid it might give me an electric shock. It didn't. I wiped away the dust from the top and saw the wave, bright gold embossed on what might have been gray suede, except it didn't feel like suede, nor did it precisely feel like metal. There was no seam in the case. It was perfectly blank. This has been waiting for me, I thought. It was all true, every word, and this is now part of my inheritance. Did I believe my father's story then? I almost did, and had he left the case for me? The answer to that is more difficult. I couldn't ask the two talented bastards who'd come out here to hunt in November of 1978. Hey, that was a good month and good year. Just ask me, that's where I came from. Because they were both dead. They had made their mark on the world, paintings, stories, and then left it. The young man who wasn't a man said the gift was for them because Pop had shot the not woman up with the EpiPen and Uncle Butch had given her his, I quote, precious breath. He didn't say it was just for them, though, did he? And if Pop's breath had opened it, might not mine do it as well? Same blood, same DNA, would it open sesame for me? Did I dare try it? What have I told you about myself? Let me see. You know that I was Castle County School Superintendent for many years before I retired to become my father's amanuensis. Amanuensis? Yes, amanuensis. Not to mention the one who changed his bedding if he wet himself during the night. You know that I was married and my wife left me. You know that on the day when I stood in that decaying cabin looking at a gray case from another world, I was alone. Parents dead, wife gone, no kids. Those are the things you know, but there's a universe of things you don't know. I suppose that's true of every man, Jack, and woman Jill on Earth. I'm not going to tell you much, not just because it would take too long, but because it would bore you. If I told you I drank too much after Susan left me, would you care? That I had a brief romance with internet pornography? That I thought of suicide, but never seriously? I will tell you two things, even though both of them embarrass me almost, but not quite, to the point of shame. They are sad things. The daydreams of men and women of a certain age are always sad, I think, because they run so counter to the plain vanilla features and futures we have to look forward to. I have some writing talent, as I hope this memoir will show, and I dreamed of writing a great novel, one for the ages. I loved my father and love him still, but living in his shadow became tiresome. I daydreamed of critics saying the depth of Mark Carmody's novel makes his father's work look shabby. The pupil has truly outshone the teacher. I don't want to feel that way, and mostly I don't, yet part of me does and always will. That part of me is a cave dweller who grins a lot but never smiles. I can play the piano, but not well. I am asked to accompany the hymns at the Congo church only if Mrs. Stanhope is out of town or under the weather. I'm a plotter and a thumper of keys. My ability to read music is on the 3rd grade level. I have polish only on the 3 or 4 pieces that I have memorized, and people get tired of hearing those. I daydreamed about writing that great novel, but it's not most powerful daydream I have. Shall I tell you what it is? Having come this far, why not? I'm in a nightclub and all my friends are there. My father is too. The band has left the stand, and I ask if I can play a tune on the piano. The band leader, of course, says yes. My pop groans, "Oh God, Marky, not bring it on home to me again." I say with appropriate modesty, "No, I learned something new," and start to play the Albert Hammond's classic, Boogie Woogie Stomp. My fingers are flying, conversation ceases, they stare at me, amazed and admiring. The drummer resumes his seat and picks up the beat. The horn guy starts blowing a dirty alto sax like the one in Tequila. The audience starts to clap along. Some of them jitterbug, and then I finish, standing for the final right hand glissando like Jerry Lee Lewis. They get up on their feet and yell for more. You can't see me, but I'm blushing as I write this. Not just because it's the most treasured fantasy, but because it's so common. All over the world, even now, women are playing air guitar like Joan Jett, and men are pretending to conduct Beethoven's Fifth in their rec rooms. These are the ordinary fantasies of those who would give anything to be chosen and are not. In that dusty, ready-to-fall-down cabin where two men once met, a being from another world, I thought I would love to play Boogie Woogie Stomp like Albert Hammond's just once. Once would be enough, I told myself, knowing it would not be. It never is. I blew on the wave. A line appeared in the middle of the case, held for a moment, and then disappeared. I stood there for a while holding the case, then put it back on the mantel. I remembered the young man saying, "Nothing can give you what isn't already there." "It's all right," I said and laughed a little. It wasn't all right. It stung, but I understood the sting would go away. I'd go back to my life and the sting would go away. I had my famous father's affairs to tie up. That would keep me busy and I'd have plenty of money. Maybe I'd go to Aruba. It's all right to want what you can't have. You learn to live with it. I tell myself that, and mostly I believe it. Oh my, we've made it to the second story. The Fifth Step. Harold Jameson, once chief engineer of New York City's sanitation department, enjoyed retirement. He knew from his small circle of friends that some didn't, so he considered himself lucky. He had an acre of garden in Upper Manhattan that he shared with several like-minded horticulturists he had discovered Netflix, and he was making inroads in books he'd always meant to read. He still missed his wife, a victim of breast cancer 5 years previous, but aside from that persistent ache, his life was quite full. Before rising every morning, he reminded himself to enjoy the day. At 68, he liked to think he had a fair amount of road left. But there was no denying it had begun to narrow. The best part of those days, assuming it wasn't raining, snowing, or too cold, was the 9-block walk to Central Park after breakfast. Although he carried a cell phone and used an electronic tablet, had grown dependent on it, in fact, he still preferred the print version of the Times. In the park, he would settle on his favorite bench and spend an hour with it, reading the sections back to front, telling himself he was progressing from the sublime to the ridiculous. One morning in mid-May, the weather coolish but perfectly adequate for bench sitting and newspaper reading, he was annoyed to look up from his paper to see a middle-aged man sitting down on the other end of his bench. Although there were plenty of empty ones in the vicinity. This invader of Jameson's morning space looked to be in his mid to late 40s. Neither handsome nor ugly, in fact, perfectly nondescript. The same was true of his attire. New Balance walking shoes, jeans, a Yankee cap, and a Yankee hoodie with the hood tossed back. Jameson gave him an impatient side glance and prepared to move to another bench. "Don't go," the man said. "Please, I sat down here because I need a favor. It's not a big one, but I'll pay." He reached into the kangaroo pouch of the hoodie and held out a $20 bill. "I don't do favors for strange men," Jameson said and got up. "That's exactly the point. The two of us being strangers. Hear me out. If you say no, that's fine, but please, hear me out. You could..." He cleared his throat. Jameson realized the guy was nervous. Maybe more, maybe scared. "You could be saving my life." Jameson considered, then sat down, but as far from the other man as he could, while still keeping both butt cheeks on the bench. "I'll give you a minute, but if you sound crazy to me, I'm leaving. And put your money away. I don't need it, and I don't want it." The man looked at the bill as if surprised to find it still in his hand, then put it back in the kangaroo pouch. He put his hands on his thighs and looked down at them instead of Jameson. "I'm an alcoholic, 4 months sober, 4 months and 12 days to be exact." "Congratulations," Jameson said. He guessed he meant it, but he was even more ready to get up, to leave the park if necessary. The guy seemed sane, but Jameson was old enough to know that sometimes the woo-woo didn't come out right anyway. "I've tried 3 times before and once got almost a year. I think this might be my last chance to grab the brass ring. I'm in AA, that's..." "I know what it is. What's your name? Mr. 4 months sober?" "You can call me Jack. That's good enough. We don't use last names in the program." Jameson knew that too. Lots of people on the Netflix show had alcohol problems. "So, what can I do for you, Jack?" "First 3 times I tried, I didn't get a sponsor in the program. Somebody who listens to you, answers your questions, sometimes tell you what to do. This time I did. Met a guy at the Bowery Sundown meeting and really liked the stuff he said. And how he carried himself, 12 years sober, feet on the ground, works and sells like me." I had turned to look at Jameson, but now he returned his gaze to his hand. "I used to be a hell of a salesman for 5 years. I headed the sales department of, well, it doesn't matter, but it was a big deal. You'd know the company. That was in San Diego. Now I'm down to peddling greeting cards and energy drinks to convenience stores and bodegas in the 5 boroughs. Last rung on the ladder." "Get to the point," Jameson said, but not harshly. He had become a little interested in spite of himself. It was not every day that a stranger sat down on your bench and started spilling his shit. Especially not in New York. "I was just going to check on the Mets. They're off to a good start." Jack rubbed a palm across his mouth. "I liked this guy I met at the Sundown, so I got up my courage after a meeting and asked him to be my sponsor. In March this was. He looked me over and said he'd take me on, but only on 2 conditions. That I do everything he said and call him if I felt like drinking. Then I'll be calling you every fucking night," I said, and he said, "So call me every fucking night. And if I don't answer, talk to the machine." Then he asked me if I work the steps. Do you know what those are? Vaguely. I said I hadn't gotten around to them. He said that if I wanted him to be my sponsor, I'd have to start. He said the first 3 were both the hardest and the easiest. They boiled down to, I can't stop on my own, but with God's help I can, so I'm going to let him help. Jameson grunted. I said I didn't believe in God. This guy, Randy's his name, said he didn't give a shit, so he told me to get down on my knees every morning and ask this God I didn't believe in to help me stay sober another day. And if I didn't drink, he said for me to get down on my knees before I turned in and thank God for my sober day. Randy asked if I was willing to do that, and I said I was, because I'd lose him otherwise, you see? Sure, you were desperate. Exactly. The gift of desperation. That's what AAs call it. Randy said if I didn't do those prayers and said I was doing them, he'd know, because he spent 30 years lying his ass off about everything. So you did it, even though you don't believe in God? I did it, and it's been working. As for my belief that there's no God, the longer I stay sober, the more that wavers. If you're going to ask me to pray with you, forget it. Jack smiled down at his hands. Nope, I still feel myself conscious about the on my knees thing even when I'm by myself. Last month, April, Randy told me to do the 4th step. That's when you make a moral inventory, supposedly searching and fearless of your character. Did you? Yes. Randy said I was supposed to put down the bad stuff, then turn the page and list the good stuff. It took me 10 minutes for the bad stuff, over an hour for the good stuff. At first, I couldn't think of anything good, but finally I wrote, at least I've got a sense of humor, which I do. Once I got that, I was able to think of a few other things. When I told Randy I had trouble thinking of character strengths, he said that was normal. You drank for almost 30 years, he said. That puts a lot of scars and bruises on a man's self-image. But if you stay sober, the bruises will heal. Then he told me to burn the list. He said it would make me feel better. Well, did it? Strangely enough, it did. Anyway, that brings us to this month's request from Randy. More of a demand, I'm guessing, Jameson said, smiling a little. He folded his newspaper and laid it aside. Jack also smiled. I think you're catching the sponsor-sponsee dynamic. Randy told me it was time to do my 5th step, which is admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs, Jack said, making quote marks with his fingers. I told him, okay, I'd make a list and read it to him. God could listen in. 2 birds with 1 stone deal. I'm thinking he said no. Well, he said no. He told me to approach a complete stranger. His first suggestion was a priest or a minister, but I haven't set foot in a church since I was 12, and I have no urge to go back. Whatever I'm coming to believe, and I don't know yet what that is. I don't need to sit in a church pew to help it along. Jameson, no churchgoer himself, nodded. Randy said, just walk up to somebody in Grant Park or Washington Square Park or Central Park and ask him to hear you list your wrongs. Offer a few bucks to sweeten the deal if that's what it takes. Keep asking until someone agrees to listen. He said the hard part would be asking part, and he was right. Am I your first victim? Was the phrase that came to mind, but Jameson decided it wasn't exactly fair. Am I the first person you've approached? A second. I tried an off-duty cab driver yesterday and he told me to get lost. Jameson thought of an old New York joke. Out-of-towner approaches a guy in Lexington Avenue and says, "Can you tell me how to get to City Hall, or should I just go fuck myself?" He decided he wasn't going to tell the guy in the Yankee gear to go fuck himself. He would listen, and the next time he met his friend Alex, another retiree, for lunch, he'd have something interesting to talk about. "Okay, go for it." Jack reached into the pouch of his hoodie, took out a piece of paper, and unfolded it. "When I was in 4th grade, if this is going to be your life story, maybe you better give me that 20 after all." Jack reached into his hoodie with a hand not holding his list of wrongdoings, but Jameson waved him off. Joking. "Sure." "You sure?" "Yes, but let's not take too long. I've got an appointment at 8:30. This wasn't true, and Jameson reflected that it was good. He didn't have the alcohol problem because, according to the TV meetings he'd attended, honesty was a big deal if you did. "Keep it steady." "Got it. And speedy. Here goes. In 4th grade, I got into a fight with another kid. Gave him a bloody lip and nose. When we got to the office, I said it was because he called my mother a dirty name. He denied it, of course, but we both got sent home with a note for our parents, or just my mom in case, because my dad left us when I was 2. And the dirty name thing? A lie. I was having a bad day and thought I'd feel better if I got into a fight with this kid I didn't like. I don't know why I didn't like him. I guess there was a reason, but I don't remember what it was. Only that set a pattern of lying. I started drinking in junior high. My mother had a bottle of vodka she kept in the freezer. I'd swig from it, then add water. She finally caught me, and the vodka disappeared from the freezer. I knew where she put it, on a high shelf over the stove. But I left it alone after that. By then, it was probably mostly water anyway. I saved my allowance and chore money and got some old wino to buy me nips. He'd buy 4 and keep 1. I enabled his drinking, and that's what my sponsor would say. Jack shook his head. I don't know what happened to that guy. Ralph, his name was, only I thought of him as Wretched Ralph. Kids can be cruel. For all I know, he's dead and I helped kill him. Don't get carried away, Jameson said. I'm sure you have stuff to feel guilty about without having to invent a bunch of might-have-beens. Jack looked up and grinned. When he did, Jameson saw the man actually had tears in his eyes. Not falling, but brimming. Now you sound like Randy. Is that a good thing? I think so. I think I'm lucky I found you. Jameson discovered he actually felt lucky to have been found. What else have you been doing? What do you got on that list? Because time's passing. I went to Brown and graduated cum laude, but mostly I lied and cheated my way through. I was good at it. And here's a big one. The student advisor I had my senior year was a coke addict. I won't go into how I found out, but like you said, time's passing, but I did, and I made a deal with him. Good recommends in exchange for a key of coke. Plus, of course, he'd pay for the dope. I wasn't into charity. He as in kilo? Jameson said. His eyebrows went up, most of the way to his hairline. Right. I brought it in through the Canadian border, tucked into the spare tire of my old Ford, trying to look like any other college kid who'd spent his semester break having fun and getting laid in Toronto, but heart was beating like crazy and I bet my blood pressure was redlining. The car in front of me at the checkpoint got tossed completely, but I got waved through after showing my driver's license. Of course, things were much looser back then. he said, then said, I overcharged him for the key too, pocketed the difference. But you didn't use any of the cocaine yourself? No, that was never my scene. I blew a little dope once in a while, but what I really still want, is grain alcohol. Lied to my bosses, but eventually that gave out. It wasn't like college, and there was nobody to milk coke for. Not that I found, anyway. Well, what did you do exactly? Messaged my cell sheets, made up appointments that didn't exist to explain days when I was too hungover to come in. Jiggered expense sheets. That first job was a good one. The sky was the limit, and I blew it. After they got me, they let me go. I decided what I really needed was a change of location. In AA, that's called a geographic cure. Never works, but I didn't know that. Seems simple enough now. If you put an asshole on a plane in Boston, an asshole gets off in LA or Denver or Des Moines. I fucked up a second job, not as good as the first one, but good. That was in San Diego, and what I decided then was that I needed to get married and settle down. That would solve the problem, so I got married to a nice girl who deserved better than me. It lasted 2 years, my lying right down the line about my drinking, inventing non-existent business appointments to explain why I was home late, inventing non-existent flu symptoms to explain why I was going in late or not at all. I could have bought stock in one of those breath mint companies, Altoids, Breath Savers, but she was fooled. Or was she? I'm guessing not, Jameson said. Listen, are we approaching the end here? Yes, five more minutes, promise. Okay. There were arguments that kept getting worse. Stuff got thrown occasionally, and not just by her. There was a night when I came home around midnight, stinking drunk, and she started in on me. You know, all the usual jabber, and all of it was true. I felt like she was throwing poison darts at me and never missing. Jack was looking at his hand again. His mouth was turned down at the corners so severely that for a moment he looked to Jameson like Emmett Kelly, that famous sad-faced clown. You know what came into my mind while she was yelling at me? Glenn Ferguson, that boy I beat up in 4th grade. How good it felt, like squeezing the pus out of an infected boil. I thought it would be good to beat her up. And for sure no one would send me home with a note from my mother because my mom died the year after I graduated from Brown. Whoa, Jameson said. Feeling good about this uninvited confession took a hike. Unease replaced it. He wasn't sure he wanted to hear what came next. I left, Jack said. But I was scared enough to know I had to do something about my drinking. That was the first time I tried AA, out there in San Diego. I was sober when I came back to New York, but that didn't last. Tried again, and that didn't last either. Neither did the third, but now I've got Randy. And this time I might make it. Partly thanks to you. He held out his hand. Well, you're welcome, Jameson said and took it. There's one more thing, Jack said. His grip was very strong. He was looking into Jameson's eyes and smiling. I did leave, but I cut that bitch's throat before I did. I didn't stop drinking, but it made me feel better. The way beating up Glenn Ferguson made me feel better. And that wino I told you about, kicking him around made me feel better too. Don't know if I killed him, but I sure did bust him up. Jameson tried to pull back, but the grip was too strong. The other hand was once more inside the pocket of the Yankee hoodie. I really want to stop drinking, and I can't do a complete fifth step without admitting that I seem to really enjoy what felt like a streak of hot white light slid between Jameson's ribs, and when Jack pulled the dripping ice pick away, once more tucking it into the pocket of his hoodie, Jameson realized he couldn't breathe. Killing people? It's a character defect, I know, and probably the chief of my wrongs. He got to his feet. Thank you, sir. I don't know what your name is, but you've helped me so much. He started away toward Central Park West, then turned back to Jameson, who was grasping blindly for his Times, as if perhaps a quick scan of the arts and leisure section would put everything right. You'll be in my prayers tonight, Jack said. Willie the Weirdo. Willie's mom and dad thought their son was strange. With his careful study of dead birds and his collections of dead bugs and the way he might look at drifting clouds for an hour or more, but only Roxy would say it out loud. Willie the Weirdo, she called him one night at the dinner table with Willie was trying to anyway, a clown face in his mashed potatoes with gravy for eyes. Willie was 10. Roxy was 12 and getting breasts, of which she was very proud, except when Willie stared at them, which made her feel creepy. Don't call him that, Mother said. She was Sharon. But it's true, Roxy said. Father said, I'm sure he gets enough of that at school. He was Richard. Sometimes, often, family talked about Willie as if he wasn't there, except for the old man at the foot of the table. Do you get that at school? Grandfather asked. He rubbed a finger between his nose and upper lip, his habit after asking a question or answering one. Grandfather was James. Ordinarily, during the family meals, he was a silent man. Partly because it was his nature, and partly because eating had become a chore. He was making slow work of his roast beef. Most of his teeth were gone. I don't know, Willie said. I guess sometimes. He was studying his mashed potatoes. The clown was now grinning, a shiny brown grin with small globules of fat for teeth. Sharon and Roxy cleaned up after dinner. Roxy enjoyed doing the dishes with her mother. It was a sexist division of labor, to be sure, but they could have undisturbed conversations about important matters, such as Willie. Roxy said, He is weird, admit it. That's why he's in the remedial. Sharon looked around to make sure they were alone. Richard had gone for a walk and Willie had retired to Grandfather's room with a man Rich sometimes called the old boy and sometimes the roomer. Never Dad or my father. Willie isn't like other boys, Sharon said. But we love him anyway, don't we? Roxy gave it some thought. I guess I love him, but I don't exactly like him. He's got a bottle filled with fireflies in Grandpa's room. He says he likes to watch them go out when they die. That's weird. He's like a case history in the book called Serial Killers as Children. Don't you ever say that, Sharon told her. We can be very sweet. As can he. Roxy had never experienced what she'd call sweetness, but thought it better not to say so. Besides, she was still thinking of the fireflies, their little lights going out one by one. And Grandpa watches right along with him. They're in there all the time talking. Grandpa doesn't talk to anyone else hardly. Your grandfather has had a hard life. He's really not my grandpa anyway, not by blood, I mean. He might as well be. Grandpa James and Grandma Elise adopted your father when he was just a baby. It's not like Dad grew up in an orphanage and got adopted at 12 or something. Dad says Grandpa hardly ever talked to him after Grandma Elise died. He says there were nights when they hardly said 6 words to each other, but since he came to live with us, he and Willie go in there and talk up a storm. It's good they have a connection, Sharon said, but she was frowning down at the soapy water. It keeps your grandfather tethered to the world, I think. He's very old. Richard came to them late, when James and Elise were already in their 50s. I didn't think they let people that old adopt, Rosie said. I don't know how that stuff works, Mother said. She pulled the plug and the soapy water began to gurgle down the drain. There was a dishwasher, but it was broken and Father, Richard, kept not getting it fixed. Money had been tight since Grandfather came to live with them because he only had his pittance of a pension to contribute. Also, Roxy knew Mom and Dad had already begun saving for her college education. Probably not for Willie's, though, with him being in the remedial and all. He likes clouds and dead birds and dying fireflies, but he wasn't much of a scholar. I don't think Dad likes Grandpa very much, Roxy said in a lower voice. Mother lowered hers even further, so it was hard to hear over the last few chuckles from the sink. He doesn't, but Rox? What? This is how families do. Remember when you have one of your own. Roxy never intended to have children, but if she did, and one of them turned out like Willie, she thought that maybe. Sorry guys, somebody came in and lost my place. Roxy never intended to have children, but if she did, and one of them turned out like Willie, she thought she'd be tempted to drive him into the deepest, darkest woods, let him out of the car, and just leave him there, like a wicked stepmother in a fairy tale. She briefly wondered if that made her weird and decided it didn't. Once she heard her father tell Mother that Willie's career might turn out to be bagging groceries at Kroger's. James Jonas Fiedler, aka Grandfather, aka Grandpa, aka the Old Boy, came out of his room, called his den by Sharon, his lair by Richard. 4 meals, and sometimes he would sit on the back porch to smoke a cigarette, 3 a day. But mostly he stayed in the small back bedroom that had been Mother's study until last year. Sometimes he watched the little TV on top of his dresser, 3 channels, no cable. Mostly he either slept or sat quietly in one room of the 2 wicker chairs, looking out of the window, but when Willie came in, he would close the door and talk. Willie would listen, and when he asked questions, Grandpa would always answer them. Willie knew most of the answers were untruthful, and he was aware that most of Grandfather's advice was bad advice. Willie was in the remedial because it allowed him time to think about more important things. Not because he was stupid, but Willie enjoyed the answers and advice just the same. If it was crazy, so much the better. That night, while his mother and sister were discussing the two of them in the kitchen, Willie asked Grandfather again, just to see if it jibed with earlier stories, what the weather had been like in Gettysburg. Grandfather rubbed a finger beneath his nose as if feeling for stubble and ruminated. Day 1, cloudy and mid-70s, not bad. Day 2, partly cloudy and 81. Still not bad. Day 3, the day of Pickett's charge, 87 degrees with the sun beating down on us like a hammer. And remember, we were in wool uniforms. We all stank of sweat. The weather report matched. So far, so good. Were you really there, Grandpa? Yes, said Grandfather with no hesitation. He passed his finger below his nose and above his lip and then began to pick his remaining teeth with a yellow fingernail, extracting a few filaments of roast beef. And lived to tell the tale. Many did not. Want to know about July 4th, Independence Day? People tend to forget that one because the battle was over. He didn't wait for Willie to answer. Pouring rain, boots sucking mud, men crying like babies, Lee on his horse. Traveler? Yes, traveler. His back was to us, he had blood on his hat and the seat of his breeches, but not his blood. He was unwounded, that man was the devil. Willie picked up the bottle on the windowsill, Heinz Relish on the faded label, and tilted it from side to side, enjoying the dry rustle of dead fireflies. He imagined it was like the sound of the wind in graveyard grass on a hot July day. Tell me about the flag, boy. Grandfather passed his finger between his nose and lip. You've heard that story 20 times. Just the ending, that's the part I like. He was 12, going up the hill beside me, stars and bars flying high. The end of the pole was socked into a little tin cup on his belt. My mate Michael LeBlanc made that cup. We were halfway up Cemetery Hill when the boy got hit, spang in the throat. Tell about the blood. His lips parted, his teeth were clenched in pain, I suppose. Blood squirting out between them. And it gleamed? That's right. The finger took a quick swipe beneath his nose, then returned to his teeth, where one pesky filament remained. It gleamed like rubies in the sun, and you were really there. Didn't I say so? I was the one who picked up the Dixie flag when the boy went down. I carried it 20 more running steps before we were turned back not a stone's throw from the rock, while the bluebellies were hiding behind. When we skedaddled, I carried it back down the hill again. Tried to step over the bodies, but I couldn't step over all of them because there were so many. Tell about the fat one. Grandfather rubbed his cheek, scritch, then under his nose, scratch. When I stepped back on his back, he farted. Willie's face twisted in a silent laugh, and he clutched himself. It was what he did when he was amused, and whenever Roxy observed that knotted face and self-hug, she knew he was weird. There, Grandpa said, and finally dislodged a long strand of beef. Feed it to the fireflies. Oh, that's so gross. No! I don't think fireflies eat that. Oh my gosh. He gave the strand to Willie, who dropped it on top of the dead fireflies in the Heinz jar. Now, tell me about Cleopatra. Well, which part? Barge. Aha. Barge is it? Grandfather caressed his philtrum, this time with his fingernail. Screech. Well, I don't mind. The Nile was so broad we could hardly see across it, but that day it was smooth as a baby's belly. I had the rudder. Willie leaned forward, rapt. On a day, not long after the roast beef and the mashed potatoes that had made a clown face, Willie was sitting on a curb after a rainstorm. He had missed the bus going home again, but that was all right. He was watching a dead mole in the gutter, waiting to see if the rushing water would wash it into a sewer grate. A couple of big boys came along, trading arm punches and various profane witticisms. That stopped when they saw Willie.
"Look at that kid hugging himself,"
one said.
"'Cause no girl in her right mind ever would,"
said the other.
"It's the Freako,"
said the first.
"Check out those little pink eyes." "And the haircut,"
said the second.
"Looks like somebody sculpted him. Hey, short bus kid."
Willie stopped hugging himself and looked at them.
"Your face looks suspiciously like my ass,"
said the first, and accepted a high five from his companion. Willie looked back at the dead mole. It was moving toward the sewer grate, but very slowly. He didn't believe it. He didn't believe it was going to make it. At least, not unless it started raining again. Number one kicked him in the hip and proposed beating him up.
"Let him alone,"
Number two said.
"I like his sister.
She got a hot bod." They went on their way. Willie waited until they were out of sight, then got up, pulled the damp seat of his pants away from his butt, and walked home. His mother and father were still at work. Roxy was somewhere, probably with one of her friends. Grandpa was in his room, looking at a game show on his TV. When Willie came in, he snapped it off.
"You've got a bit of a hitch in your get-along,"
Grandpa said.
"What?"
A limp.
"Let's go out on the back porch. I want to smoke. What happened to you?"
"Kid kicked me," Willie said. "I was watching the mole. It was dead. I wanted to see if it would go into the sewer or not."
"Well, did it?"
"No, unless it did after I left, but I don't think so."
"Kicked you, did he?"
"Yes."
"Uh-huh,"
Grandpa said. And that closed the subject. They went out on the porch, they sat down, Grandpa lit a cigarette and coughed out the first drag in little puffs.
"Tell me about the volcano under Yellowstone,"
Willie proposed.
"Again?"
"Yes, please."
"Well, it's a big one. Maybe the biggest, and someday it's gonna blow. It'll take the whole state of Wyoming when it does. Plus some of Idaho and most of Montana."
"But that isn't all," Willie said.
"Not at all."
Grandpa smoked and coughed.
"We'll throw 1 billion tons of ash into the atmosphere. Crops will die worldwide. People will die worldwide. The internet, everyone is so proud of, will go kerblooey.
The ones who don't starve will choke to death," Willie said. His eyes were shining. He clutched his throat and went,
"Grah!"
"Could be
an extinction event like what killed the dinosaurs, only it would be us this time."
Grandfather said.
"That boy who kicked you won't be thinking about kicking anybody then. He'll be crying for his mommy."
"But his mommy will be dead."
"Correct,"
said Grandfather. Well, on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have Mr. Jeff Hilliard from Los Angeles, California, and he's going to be singing Consensual Sex Fan, Finger Bang Your Day, Silicone Wave, Multitude, and that's about it for that break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Let me take you far away from all this huff and puff. There will be nothing in between our love, like a pair of doves flying nothing can touch us. Touching softly. Don't let me go, I won't let you go. This is eternity with me, baby. Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? You don't have to be alone. Come with me. Magic, healthy laughter, boundaries, safe space, unknowing mutual consent, passion, happily we'll be bearing our souls, naked by the sea. We'll breathe the clean air. We'll be living, laughing, loving forever. Baby, do you wanna go for a ride in the consensual sex van? Do you wanna go for a ride in the consensual sex van? You don't have to be alone anymore. We will be together forever in love. Do you wanna go for a ride? Do you wanna go in my consensual? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Just get in the van. When your life is a never-ending train wreck, and you feel like you're drowning in a sea of regret, with a bit of oppression pressing down on your neck, it hurts so bad. When your overwhelming hatred kills your heart's desire, and reality starts looking like a dumpster fire, you start bitching to me, but you're preaching to the choir. You don't need to be so mad. 'Cause sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world goes completely insane, open your heart, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah, I'll finger bang my day. That's right. You gotta make the choice to give it all you've got, and make your day long with pleasure
Hey, what are we really doing? We can't live in a world that has this much hate. We have to get honest with ourselves. We have to take stock in what our part is in all of this madness. We have to let go. And we focus on giving love, setting that intention. And each and every single one of us gets up every day with the intention to give love. And we do it. We go out there and we give love every single day. Each one of us gets out there and makes love to our day. Giving our day a multiple orgasm. The whole world will be orgasmic for the rest of eternity. Sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we should. There's no reason to try when the whole world is fucking insane. We open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Let's open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah. Finger bang my day.
I just got a package, I can't wait to get home. I spent all day tracking the shipment on my phone, all that she was lacking. I ordered custom, I can't wait to get some. Take it to the bedroom, bitch is always nagging. Now I got the air, I send this bitch is packing. Going my way, I have a new attraction. Don't care what you say, it's better in every way. Now baby, it's time to play. We're gonna make us a tape and show everyone the way. Cause I'm She don't need expensive date nights. Never talks back, I'm always right. Stuff it in her face with all my might. She don't even care, we don't ever fight. She never cries when I'm testing the suspension. We blow it up like it's fucking Armageddon. We make the videos because this is perfection. Look at this erection, I don't need protection. Cause I'm
The woman of my dreams. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Fais-moi l'amour.
Je suis amoureux.
Je pense toujours à
Enchanté,
tu es charmant.
ma chérie. Mon frère Ils étaient le nipple.
Tu es charmant. Fais-moi
like living on a super yacht, making love to a robot. It's like owning a football team, but having sex with a robot. It's like winning an Oscar and Emmy or Grammy when you're fucking a robot. It's like saving a family with a newborn from a fire, but you're fucking a robot. molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Back of the head, I'm never gonna cut it. All these hookers sweet on me. Look at them chasing me, showing me that ass. And I bang up the snatch. I do this shit for free. Go down your mama till 3. She's taking selfies with the mullet like it's history. How can I maneuver you with that pussy, dude? You sit like Buddha waiting on it to come to you. My lines are straight to the point. She shows me gratitude. So what's your latitude? Yes, it's just your attitude. Head with a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini. I got molar moves. I got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Head with a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini. Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Back of the head, I'm never gonna cut it. Alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini. You're like the butt of a butter knife cutting up panini. So climb back in your kangaroo pouch like a rolling genie. These moves are hot, these locks I got. This power cannot be disputed and it can't be bought. So you can find me in the studio with all these thoughts. You wanna buy my style, but you can't be what you're not, neighbor. I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Back of the head, I'm never gonna cut it. Got that motherfucking mullet. You wanna touch it?
Yeah. Next time you come around here with your bitch ass, just remember how my molar makes your hoes pussy drip, drip, drip.
I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Never gonna cut it. I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Back of the head, never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it.
Drip, drip,
Molar moves.
drip, drip,
Molar moves. Never gonna cut it.
Welcome back, welcome crew, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Again, that was Jeff Hilliard from Los Angeles, California. If you don't know who he is, you need to know. Mosey on over to YouTube, check him out. He's got tons of original videos. He wins awards on them all the time, and yeah, it's just epic. Once again, that is Jeff Hilliard. Yeah, he's a funny guy. So let's get back to story time with me, TessaTNT. We are reading You Like It Darker. These are stories by Mr. Stehen King himself. Let me turn down the lights. That winter, a disease in China that had been just another item on the nightly news turned into a plague that started killing people all over the world. Hospitals and morgues were overflowing. People in Europe were mostly staying inside, and when they went out, they put on a mask. Some people in America also put on a mask, mostly if they were going to the supermarket. Wasn't as good as a massive volcanic eruption in Yellowstone National Park, but Willie thought it was pretty good. He kept track of the dead numbers on his phone. Schools were shut down early. Roxy cried because she was missing the end-of-year dance, but Willie really didn't mind. You didn't get a dance at the end of the year when you were remedial. In March of that year, Grandfather began to cough a lot more, and sometimes he coughed up blood. Sounds like he might have lung cancer. Father took him to the doctor, where they had to sit in the parking lot until they were called because of the virus that was killing people. Mother and Father were both pretty sure that Grandpa had the virus, probably brought into the house by either Roxy or Willie. Most kids didn't get sick, it seemed, or at least not very sick, but they could pass it on, and when people caught it, they usually died. According to the news in New York, the hospitals were using refrigerated trucks to store the bodies, mostly the bodies of people like Grandpa. Willie wondered what the insides of those trucks looked like. Were the dead people wrapped in sheets, or were they in body bags? What if one of them was still alive but froze to death? Willie thought that would make a good TV show. Excuse me. It turned out Grandpa didn't have the virus. He had cancer. What did I say? The doctor said it started in his pancreas, then spread to his lungs. Mother told Roxy everything while they were doing dishes, and Roxy told Willie. Ordinarily, she wouldn't have done that. Usually, the kitchen after supper was like Vegas. What got said there stayed there, but Roxy couldn't wait to tell Willie, the weirdo, that his beloved Grandpa was circling the drain. Oh, that's sad. Maddie asked if he should go into the hospital, she told Willie, and the doctor said if you don't want him to die in 2 weeks, instead of in 6 months or a year, take him home. The doctor said the hospital is a germ pit and everybody who works there has to dress like in a sci-fi movie, so that's why he's still there. Uh-huh, Willie said. Roxy elbowed him. Aren't you sad? I mean, he's the only friend you've got, right? Unless you're friends with some of your fellow weirdos at that school, which... Roxy made a sad wah-wah trumpet sound. Is now closed, just like mine. What will happen when he can't go to the bathroom anymore? Willie asked. Oh, he'll keep going poop and pee until he dies. He'll just do it in bed. He'll have to wear diapers. Mom said they'll put him in a hospice, only they can't afford it. Uh-huh, Willie said. You should be crying, Roxy said. You really are a fucking weirdo. Grandpa was a cop in a place called Selma back in the olden days, Willie told her. He beat on black people. He said he didn't really want to, but he had to because orders is orders. Sure, Roxy said. And back in the really olden days, he had pointy ears and shoes with curly toes and worked in Santa's workshop. Not true, Willie said. Santa Claus isn't real. Roxy just clutched her head. Grandfather didn't last a year or 6 months or even 4. He went down fast. By the middle of that spring, he was bedridden and wearing adult pampers under the nightgown. Changing the pampers was Sharon's job, of course. Richard said he couldn't stand the stink. When Willie offered to help if she showed him how, she looked at him as if he were crazy. She wore her mask when she went in to change his diapers or give him his little meals, which were now pureed in the blender. It wasn't the virus she was worried about because he didn't have it. Just the smell, which she called the stench. Willie kind of liked the stench. He didn't love it. That would be going too far, but he did like it. That mixture of pee and Vicks and slowly decaying. Grandpa was interesting the way looking at dead birds was interesting, or watching the dead mole make its final journey down the gutter, a kind of slow-motion funeral. Although there were 2 wicker chairs in Grandpa's room, now only one of them got used. Willie would pull it up beside the bed and talk to Grandfather. Sorry guys, once again, people just walking into the office when they know they're not supposed to during a show, but I think I might have where I left off, I'm not sure. Sorry for the chaos, it's redonkulous. Alright, I think this is where I left off, I'm not sure. Although there were 2 wicker chairs in Grandpa's room, now only one of them got used. Willie would pull it up beside the bed and talk to Grandfather. How close are you now? He asked one day. Pretty close, Grandfather said. He swiped a trembling finger under his nose. His finger was yellow now. His skin was yellow all over because he was suffering from something called jaundice as well as cancer. He had to give up the cigarettes. Does it hurt? When I cough, Grandpa said. His voice had grown low and harsh, like a dog's growl. Pills are pretty good, but when I cough, it feels like it's ripping me up. And when you cough, you can paste your own shit? Willie said, matter-of-factly. Right. Are you sad? Nope, all set. Outside, Sharon and Roxy were in the garden, bent over so all Willie could see was their sticking up asses, which was fine. When you die, will you know? I will if I'm awake. What do you want your last thought to be? Not sure, maybe flag down. You know, the flag boy at Gettysburg. Willie was a little disappointed that it wouldn't be of him, but not too. Can I watch? If you're here, Grandpa said. Because I want to see it. Grandpa said nothing. Will there be a white light, do you think? Grandpa massaged his upper lip as he considered the question. Probably. It's a chemical reaction of the brain. When the brain shuts down, people think it's a door opening on some glorious afterlife, or just fooling themselves. But there is an afterlife, isn't there, Grandpa? James Jonas Feidler ran that long yellow finger along the scant skin underneath his nose again, then showed his few remaining teeth in a smile. You'd be surprised. Tell me about how you saw Cleopatra's tits. No, I'm too tired. One night, a week later, Sharon served pork chops and told her family to enjoy them. Savor every bite was how she put it. There won't be any more chops for a while, bacon either. Pork processing plants are closing down because almost all of the workers have the virus. The price is going to go through the roof. Dino pigs would die, Roxy exclaimed, cutting into her chop. What? Father asked. It's a book. I did a book report on it. I got a B+. She popped the bite into her mouth and turned to Willie with a smile. Read any good first grade primers lately? What's a primer? Willie asked. Leave him alone, Mother said. Father was on a birdhouse kick. A local gift shop took them on consignment and actually sold a few. After dinner, he went out to his little garage workshop to build another one. Mother and Roxy went into the kitchen to do the dishes and jabber. Willie's job was clearing the table. When it was done, he went into Grandpa's room. James Fiedler was now only a skeleton with a skin-covered skull face. Willie thought that if the bugs got into his coffin, they wouldn't find much to eat. The sick room smell was still there, but the smell of decaying Grandpa seemed to be almost gone. Grandpa raised a hand and motioned Willie over. When Willie sat down beside the bed, Grandpa beckoned him closer.
This is it, he whispered. My big day.
Willie pulled his chair closer. He looked into Grandpa's eyes.
What's it like?
Good, Grandpa breathed. Willie wondered if he looked to Grandpa like he was retreating and getting dim. He saw that in a movie once.
Come closer.
Willie couldn't pull his chair any closer, so he bent down almost near enough to kiss Grandpa's withered lips.
I want to watch you go. I want to be the last thing you see. I want to watch you go, Grandpa repeated. I want to be the last thing you see.
His hand came up and grasped the nape of Willie's neck with surprising strength. His nails dug in. He pulled.
You want death? Get a mouthful.
A few minutes later, Willie paused outside the kitchen door to listen. We're taking him to the hospital now, Sharon said. She sounded on the verge of tears. I don't care what it costs. I can't do this anymore. Roxy murmured something pathetic and sympathetic. Willie went into the kitchen. You won't have to take him to the hospital, he said. He just died. They turned to him, staring at him with identical expressions of shock and dawning hope. Mother said, Are you sure? Yes, Willie said, and stroked the skin between his lip and nose with one finger. Ooh, sounds like Grandpa done went and possessed his grandson. Can you imagine that? That was a pretty good one. Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. It's a bad dream. Danny's had a few before. Everyone has a nightmare from time to time, but this is the worst one ever. Nothing bad is happening at first, but that doesn't help. The sense of impending doom is so strong, it's an actual taste in his mouth. Like sucking on a clump of pennies. He's walking along the shoulder of a dirt road, and that's been packed and oiled to keep the dust down. It's night. A quarter moon has just risen. To Danny, it looks like a sideways grin, or a sneer. He passes a sign reading County Road F, only the O and the Y have been spray painted over. And UCK has been crammed in to the right of the F, so the sign now reads Hunt Road Fuck. There are a couple bullet holes for good measure. There's corn on both sides of the road, not as high as an elephant's eye, but maybe 4 feet, suggesting it's early summer. County Road F runs dead straight up a mild rise. In Kansas, most rises are mild. At the top is a black bolt of a building that fills Danny with unreasoning horror. Some tin thing is going tinka tinka tinka. He wants to stop, wants nothing to do with the square black bulk, but his legs carry him on. There's no stopping them. He's not in control. The breeze gives the corn a bone-like rattle. It's chilly on his cheeks and forehead, and he realizes he's sweating. Sweating in a dream. When he gets to the top of the rise, calling it a crest would just be stupid. There's enough light to see the sign on the cinder block building reads Hilltop, Texaco. In front are two cracked concrete islands where gasoline pumps once stood. The tinka 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 sound is coming from rusty signs on a pole out front. One reads Rig $1.99, one reads Mid $2.19, and the one on the bottom reads Eye Test $2.49. Nothing here to worry about, Danny thinks. Nothing here to be afraid of, and he's not worried. He's not afraid. Terrified is what he is. Tinka 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 go the signs advertising long gone gas prices. The big office window is broken, ditto the glass in the door, but Danny can see weeds growing up around the shards reflecting the moonlight, and knows that it's been a while since they were broken. The vandals, bored country kids most likely, have had their fun and moved on. Danny moves on too, around the side of the abandoned station. Doesn't want to, has to. He's not in control. Now he hears something else, scratching and panting. I don't want to see this, he thinks, if spoken out loud. The thought would have come out as a moan. He goes around the side, kicking a couple of empty motor oil cans, Hoverling and Texaco brand, out of his way. There's a rusty metal trash barrel overturned and spilling more cans and Coors bottles and whatever paper trash hasn't blown away. Behind the station, there's a mangy mongrel dog digging at the oil-stained earth. It hears Danny and looks around, its eyes silver circles in the moonlight. It wrinkles back its snout and gives a growl that can mean only one thing. Mine. Mine. That's not for you, Danny says, thinking it wasn't for me either, but I think it is. The dog lowers its haunches as if to spring, but Danny's not afraid. Not of the mud, anyway. He's a town man these days, but he grew up in rural Colorado where there were dogs everywhere, and he knows an empty threat when he faces one. He bends and picks up an empty old can, dream so real, so detailed. He can feel the scrim of leftover grease down the side. He doesn't even have to throw it. Raising it is enough. The dog turns tail and leaves at a limping run. Either something wrong with one of its back legs or a split pad on one of its paws. Danny's feet carry him forward. He sees that the dog has scratched a hand and part of a forearm out of the ground. Two of the fingers have been stripped to the bone. The fleshy part of the palm is also gone now, in the dog's belly. Around the wrist, inedible and thus of no use to a hungry dog, is a charm bracelet. Danny draws in a breath and opens his mouth and... screams himself awake, sitting bolt upright in bed, a thing he's never done before. Thank God he lives alone, so there's no one to hear it. At first he doesn't know where he is. derelict gas station seems like the reality. The morning light coming in through the curtains, the dream. He's even rubbing his head on the Royals t-shirt he went to bed still wearing, to wipe off the oil that was on the side of the Havoline can he picked up. There's goose flesh from one end of his body to the other. His balls are drawn up, tight as walnuts. Then he registers his bedroom and realizes none of that was real, no matter how real it seemed. He strips off the t-shirt, drops his boxers, and heads into the trailer's tiny bathroom to shave and shower off the dream. The good thing about the bad ones, he thinks as he lathers his face, is that they never last long. Dreams are like cotton candy. They just melt away. Three. This one doesn't melt. It retains its clarity in the shower, and while he dresses in a clean set of Dickies and attaches his keyring to his belt loop, and while he drives to the high school in his old Toyota pickup, which still runs good even though it's going to turn back to all zeros again pretty soon. Maybe by this fall. The student and faculty parking lots of Wilder High are almost completely empty because school let out some weeks earlier. Jenny goes around back and parks in the usual place, at the end of the school bus line. There's no sign saying it's reserved for head custodian, but everyone knows it's his. This is his favorite time of year. When you do work and it stays done, at least for a while, a waxed hallway floor will still shine a week from now, even 2 weeks. You can scrape the gum off the floors in the boys' and girls' locker rooms. The girls are the worst offenders when it comes to gum. He doesn't know why, and not have to do it again until August. Freshly washed windows don't pick up adolescent fingerprints. As far as Danny's concerned, summer vacation is a beautiful thing. There are summer classes at Hinkle High, one county over, where there are 3 full-time janitors. They can have it as far as Danny's concerned. He has a couple of summer employment kids. The good one, Jesse Jackson, is just punching in when Danny enters the supply room. There's no sign of the other one, who, in Danny's opinion, isn't worth a hill of beans. Hill, he thinks. Hilltop, Mexico. Where's Pat? Jesse shrugged. He's a black kid, tall and slim, moves well. Built for baseball and basketball, not football. Don't know. His car's not here yet. Maybe he decided to start the weekend a day early. That would be a bad idea, Danny thinks, but guesses Pat Grandy's the kind of boy who might have all sorts of bad ideas. We're going to wax the rooms in the new wing. Start with room 12, move all the desks to one side, stack them up 2 by 2, then go to 10 and repeat. I'll follow along with a buffer. If Pat decides to show up, have him help you. Yes, Mr. Coughlin. No Mr. needed, kiddo. I'm just Danny. Think you can remember that? Jess grins. Yes, sir. No, sir, either. Off you go, unless you want a coffee first to get you cranking. Had one at the total coming in. Good for you. I need to check something in the library, and I'll get going too. Want me to get the buffer out? Danny grins. He can get to like this kid. Are you bucking for a raise? Jesse laughs. Not likely. Yeah, here in Wilder County, it's RR, Republicans rule, and they keep a tight grip on the purse strings. Sure, get the buffer and roll it down to 12. keep meaning to ask if you're by any chance named after the other Jesse Jackson, the famous one? Yes, sir. I mean, Danny. You'll get there, kid. I have faith in you. Danny takes his thermos of coffee down to the library, another benefit of summer vacation. Four. He turns on one of the computers and uses the librarian's code to unlock it. The passcode the kids use blocks anything resembling porn, also access to social media. With Mrs. Golden's, you can go anywhere. Not that Danny is planning on visiting Pornhub. He opens Firefox and types in Hilltop, Texaco. His finger hovers over the enter button. Then he adds County Road F for good measure. The dream is just as clear now as it was when he woke up. It's bugging him, actually scaring him, just like a little, even with morning sunlight streaming in through the windows, and finding nothing will, he hopes, put paid to it. He pushes the button, and a second later he's looking at a gray cinder block building. In this photo, it's new instead of old, and the Texaco sign is spandy clean. The glass in the office window and door is intact. The gas pumps sparkle. The prices on the sign say it's $109 for regular and $121 for mid-grade. There was apparently no high test to be at Hilltop, Texaco when the picture was taken, which must have been a long time ago. The car at the end pumps is a boat of a Buick, and the road out front is 2-lane blacktop instead of oiled dirt. Danny thinks the Buick must have rolled off the line in Detroit around 1980. County Road F is in the town of Gunnell. Danny has never heard of it, but that's not surprising. Kansas is big, and there must be hundreds of tiny towns he's never heard of. For all he knows, Gunnell might be across the state line in Nebraska. The hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pretty standard for gas 'em up out in the country. Below the hours in red is one word: closed. Danny looks at this dream made real with a dismay so deep it's almost fear. Hell, maybe it is fear. All he wanted was to make sure Hilltop, Texaco, and the hand sticking out of the ground, don't forget the hand, was just some bullshit his sleeping mind created. And now look at this. Just look at it. Well, I've been by it at some time or other, he reasons. That's it, gotta be. Didn't I read somewhere that the brain never forgets anything? Just stores the old trivia away on the back shelves? He searches for more info about the Hilltop, Texaco, and finds none. Only Hilltop Bakery in Des Moines, Hilltop Subaru in Danvers, Massachusetts, and 4011 other hilltops, including a petting zoo in New Hampshire. In each of these, a line has been drawn through Texaco, County Road F, showing that part of his search parameter hasn't been met. Why would there be more info? Anyway, it's just a gas station somewhere out in the Willywags. What his dad used to call East Overshoe, a Texaco franchise that went broke maybe back in the 90s. Above his main selection are a few other options: news, videos, shopping, and images. He clicks on the images and sits back in his chair, more dismayed than ever by what comes up. There are plenty of photos showing various hilltops, including 4 of the Texaco. The first is a duplicate of the one on the main page, but in another, The gas station stands deserted. Pumps gone, windows busted, trash scattered around. This is the one he visited in his dream, the very one. There can be no doubt about it. The only question is whether or not there's a body buried in the oil-soaked earth behind it. I'll be dipped in shit. It's all Danny can think of to say. He's a 36-year-old man, high school graduate but no college diploma, divorced, no kids, steady worker, Royals fan, Chiefs fan, keeps out of the bars after a spell of bad drinking that led, partially at least, to a split with Marjorie. He drives an old pick-em-up, works his hours, collects his pay, enjoys the occasional binge out on Netflix, visits his brother Stevie every now and then, doesn't follow the news, has no politics, has no interest in psychic phenomena, he's never seen a ghost, finds movies about demons and curses a waste of time and wouldn't hesitate to scroll through a graveyard after dark if it provided a shortcut to where he's going. He doesn't attend church, doesn't think about God, doesn't think about the afterlife, takes this life as it comes, has never questioned reality. He's questioning it this morning. Plenty. The glad of a car with a bad muffler, or none at all, startles him out of a state that's close to hypnosis. He looks up from the screen and sees an old Mustang pulling into the student parking lot. Pat Grady, his other summer helper, has finally decided to grace the Wilder High custodial staff with his presence. Danny looks at his watch and sees it's 7:45. Keep your temper, he thinks, getting up. This is good advice to self because his temper has gotten him in trouble before. It's why he spent a night in jail and why he quit the drinking. As for marriage, that would have ended anyway, although it might have lived along for another year or two. He goes to the door at the end of the new wing. Jesse has indeed brought down the buffer and is busy removing the stacking desks in room 12. Danny tips him a wave and Jesse tips him one back. Pat is ambling toward the door, no worries, no problem. In jeans, a cut-off tee, and a Wilder Wildcats hat turned around backward. Danny is there to greet him. He's got a firm grip on his temper, but the boys who gives a fuck attitude bugs him. And those motorcycle boots he's wearing are apt to leave scuff marks. Hey Dan, what up? You're late, Danny says. That's what's up. Punchin' 7:30, it's now pushing 8 o'clock. Sorry about that. Pat gives him a my bad shrug and glides past him, jeans riding low on his hip. This is the third time. Pat turns back. His lazy little smile is calm. Overslept. Forgot to set my phone alarm. What can I say? Here's what I say. Punching late again and you're all done. Got it? Are you shitting me? For being 20 minutes late? Last Wednesday it was half an hour, and no, I shit you not. Punch in and help Jesse move desks in the new wing. Teacher's pet, Pat says, rolling his eyes. Danny doesn't reply, knowing anything he says at this point will be the wrong thing. His summer work kids are being paid by the school department. Danny doesn't want to say or do something that will allow Pat Grady or his folks to go to the superintendent with a grievance about how he was hassled on the job. So he's not going to call Pat a lazy little twerp. Probably he doesn't have to. Pat sees it on his face and turns toward the supply room to punch in. Fishing at his jeans with one hand, Danny doesn't know if Pat is holding the other hand to his chest with the middle finger stuck out, but wouldn't be surprised. That kid will be gone by July, Danny thinks, and I've got other things to worry about, don't I? Jesse is standing in the doorway of room 12. Danny gives him a shrug. Jesse gives a cautious grin and goes back to moving desks. Danny plugs in the buffer. When Pat comes back from punching in at the same lazy amble, Danny tells him to get busy moving desks in room 10. He thinks if Pat says a single wise-ass thing, he'll fire him on the spot, but Pat keeps his mouth shut. Maybe not entirely stupid after all. Danny keeps his phone in the glove box of his Tundra so he won't be tempted to look at it during working hours. He's seen both Pat and Jesse doing exactly that. Jesse only once, Pat several times. When they knock off for lunch, he goes out to his truck long enough to look up the town of Gunnell. It's in Darke County, 90 miles north, not over the Nebraska line, but butting up against it. He could swear he's never been in Darke County his whole life. Not even as far north as Republic County, but he must have been at some point. He tosses his phone back in the glove box and heads to where Jesse is eating his lunch, phone in hand at one of the picnic tables in the shade of the gymnasium. Forget to lock your truck? No beep. Danny grins. Anyone who steals from it, good luck and welcome to what they get. Plus the truck itself has eaten her share of road. Got almost 200,000 miles on the clock. Bet you love it, though. My dad loves his old Ford quarter-ton. Why, I sort of do. Seen Pat? Jess shrugs. Probably eating in his car. He loves that old musty. I think he should take better care of it, but that's just me. We're gonna finish the new wing? Gonna give it a try, Danny says. If we don't, there's always Monday. Well, on that note, boys and girls, we're gonna go to our second break. On this break, we have Mr. Jeff Hilliard from, I want to say the greater Los Angeles, but it's just Los Angeles area. And he's going to be singing Abandoned, which is one of my favorite songs of his. I don't know if I don't have a favorite of his. Good Life, featuring Geordie White. Then we have Miss Mia Savage with her band Antidote for Savages with Not a Phase. And she's going to be singing Not a Phase and Your Skeleton. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Left here alone, just a shadow of my erection on the wall. Why won't you
Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I hope you have been enjoying yourself as I have mine. I don't know if you know, but people around us are getting very old, and then, so are we. You know, I'm in denial. I'll be in denial forever, but ain't none of us getting out of here alive, and I know I'm old. But hey, I have good genes, so it's a bit difficult to tell, if you would. We have been reading Mr. Stehen King's book, You Like It Dark? Stories. Or You Like It Darker? Holy shnikes, now I gotta look at it. Yeah, You Like It Darker. Stories. It has been so good. I love Stehen King, and I've had people say, like, in the comments and stuff, like, I ain't listened to this, it's Stehen King and politic bullshit, politics, bullshit. Ooh, can we get a break from that, please? I love his storytelling. I love the way he does it. So, can we just zip it for at least 3 hours? Maybe an hour and a half. How much ever you could spare at the moment. And read some Stehen King. To me, that seems like quite a good idea. I don't know about you, but I like it. I like that idea. You think so? Yeah, me too, right? Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And my favorite horror movie since I was a kid was Cemetery, so I love Stehen King all over the place. Much respect, I must say. Much respect. 5. Gotta put my skepticals back on. That night, he calls his ex, a thing he does from time to time. He even went down to Wichita for her birthday in April, bought her a scarf, blue to match her eyes, and stayed for cake and ice cream with her new guy. He and Margie get along a lot better since they split. Sometimes Danny thinks that's a shame, sometimes he thinks it's just the way it should be. They talk a little bit, this and that, people they know, her mother's glaucoma, and now Danny's brother is doing at his job fabulous. And then he asks if they ever drove north, maybe over into Nebraska, maybe to Franklin or Beaver City. Didn't they have lunch one time in Beaver City? She laughs, not quite her old mean laugh, the one that used to drive him crazy, but close. I never would have gone to Nebraska with you, Dano. Ain't Kansas boring enough? You're sure? Absolute, Margie says, and tells him she thinks, well, her new guy is going to pop the question pretty soon. Would he come to the wedding? Danny says he would. She asks if he's taking care of himself, meaning, is he still off the booze? Danny says he is. Tells her to look both ways before crossing the street. An old joke between them, and hangs up. Never would have gone to Nebraska with you, Dano, she said. Danny has been to Lincoln a couple times, and Omaha once, but those towns are east of Wilder, and Gunnell is dead north. Yet, he must have been there and just forgot it. Maybe back in his drinking days? Except he never drove when he was out and out shit-faced, afraid of losing his license or maybe hurting somebody. Is there? Must have been, back when that county road was still tarvy instead of hacked dirt. He stays up later than usual and tosses around quite a bit before finally dropping off, afraid the dream will come back. It doesn't. But the next morning, it's as clear as ever. Deserted gas station. Half moon. Stray dog. Hand. Charm bracelet. Unlike Miniman, and this is 6, sorry, I forgot to say 6. Unlike many men of his age and station, Danny doesn't drink. Not now, anyway. Doesn't smoke, doesn't chew. He likes pro sports and might put $5 down on the Super Bowl just to make it interesting, but otherwise, he doesn't gamble. Not even a 2-butt scratch ticket on payday. Nor does he chase after women. There's a lady in his trailer park he visits from time to time. Becky's what used to be called a grass widow, but that's more of a casual friendship than what the afternoon talk shows call a relationship. Sometimes he stays over at Becky's place. Sometimes he brings her a bag of groceries or babysits her daughter if Beck has arranged some errands to run or an early evening hair appointment. There's plenty of get-along between them, but love ain't in it. On Saturday morning, he packs his dinner bucket with a couple of sandwiches and a piece of cake Becky brought over after he wired up the tailpipe of her old Honda Civic. He fills his thermos with black coffee and heads north. He thinks he'll feel like eating if he takes a look behind the deserted gas station and finds nothing. If he sees what he saw in his dream, probably not. The GPS on his phone gets him to Gunnell by 10:30. The day is all Kansas, hot and bright and clear and not very interesting. The town is nothing but a grocery store, a farm supply store, a cafe, and a rusty water tower with Gunnell on the side. 10 minutes after leaving it, he comes to County Road F and turns onto it. It's tar, not packed dirt. Nevertheless, his stomach is tight and his heart is beating hard enough so he can feel it in his neck and his temples. Corn closes in on both sides. Feed corn, not eating corn, as in good for late June and will be 6 feet by the time August rolls around. The road is tarvy, and that's different from the goddamn dream, he thinks. But only 2 miles along the tar quits, and then it's packed dirt. A mile after that he stops dead in the road, which is no problem since there's no traffic. Just ahead on his right is a county road sign, which has been defaced in spray paint so it reads, Hunt Road Fuck. There's no way he saw that in his dream, but he did. The road is rising now. When he goes another quarter of a mile, maybe even less, he will see the squat shape of the abandoned gas station. Turn around, he thinks. You don't want to go there. Nobody's making you. So just turn around and go home. Except he can't. His curiosity is too strong. Also, there's the dog. If it's there, it will eventually disinter the body, visiting further violation on a girl or woman who has already suffered the ultimate violation of being murdered. Letting that happen would haunt him worse and longer than the dream itself. Does he know for a fact that the hand belongs to a female? Yes, because of the charm bracelet. Does he know for a fact that she was murdered? Why else would somebody have buried her behind a deserted gas station somewhere north of Hoot or south of Holler? That ain't a hoot and holler. He drives on. The gas station is there. The rusty tin signs out front read $1.99 for regular, $2.19 for mid-grain and $2.49 for high octane, just as they did in his dream. Yeah, I was getting excited because I remember that. That happened before. There's a light breeze here at the top of the rise. Then the signs go tinka 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 against the steel pole on which they are mounted. Danny pulls onto the cracked and weed-sprouting tarmac, careful to stay clear of the busted glass, and weed-sprouting tarmac, careful to stay clear of the spare that is so old it's showing cord in a couple of places. The last thing he wants, the last thing in the world, is to be stranded out here. He gets out of his truck, slams the door, and jumps at the sound it makes. Stupid, but he can't help it. Hey, that's why I keep my phone on silent, because I know what a ring sounds like, but every time it rings, I jump out on my skin. I can't help it. I'm not a scaredy cat, but that just, I don't know, surprises me, takes me by storm because I'm not used to it. He's pretty well scared to death. Somewhere in the distance, a tractor's blading. It might as well be on another planet as far as Danny's concerned. He can't remember ever feeling this utterly alone. Walking around the station is like re-entering his dream. His legs seem to be moving on their own with no directions from control room. He kicks aside a deserted oil can. Aveline, of course. He wants to pause at the corner of the cinder block, but his legs carry him around without a pause. They are relentless. The rusty trash barrel is there, overturned and spilling its crap. The dog is there too. It's standing at the edge of the corn, looking at him. Damn mutt was waiting for me, Danny thinks. Knew I was coming. This should be a stupid idea, but it's not. Standing here, miles from the nearest human being, living human being that is, he knows it's not. He dreamed of the dog, and the dog dreamed of him. Simple. Cough! Danny yells and claps his hands. The dog gives him a baleful look and limps away into the corn. Danny turns to his left and sees the hand, or what's left of it, and more. The stray has been busy. It has exhumed part of a forearm. Bone glimmers through the flesh, and there are bugs. But there's enough left for him to see that the person buried here is white, and there's a tattoo above the charm bracelet, and it looks like either rope or circle of barbed wire. He could tell which if he went closer, but he was and had no urge to go closer. What he wants is to get the hell out of there. But if he leaves, the dog will come back. Danny can't see it, but he knows it's close, watching, waiting to be left alone with its early lunch. He goes back to his truck, gets his phone out of the glove compartment, and just looks at it. If he uses it, he's going to look guilty as shit, but that goddamn dog! An idea comes to him. The trash barrel is on its side. He tips it all the way over, sliding out a pile of crap, but no rats, thank God. And the rest is solid still. Has to go 35 pounds? He clasps it against his midsection, sweat rolling down his cheeks, and walks it to the hand and forearm. He lowers it and steps back, brushing rust off his shirt. Will that be enough, or will the dog be able to tip it over? Hard to say. Danny goes around to the front of the station and pries up 2 good-sized chunks of crumbling concrete. He takes them around back and stacks them on top of the overturned barrel. Good enough? He thinks so. For a while, anyway. If the dog decides to batter at the barrel, To get what's beneath, one of those chunks is apt to fall off and bonk it on the head. Good so far. Now what? Seven. By the time he gets to his truck, his head is a little clearer and he has an idea of how he should go. He starts the engine and backs around to head south, once more being careful not to roll over any of the broken glass. Farm truck goes by headed north, as hauling a small open trailer filled with lumber. The driver, gimme cap yanked down to the tops of his ears, stares grimly ahead, taking no notice of Danny, which is good. When the farm truck is over the rise, Danny pulls out and heads back the way he came. On the outskirts of Thompson, he stops in at the Dollar General and asks if they spell prepaid cell phones. Or sell. Is it sell or spell? Pretty sure it's sell. What? What are called burners in some of the TV programs he watches. He's never bought such an item and thinks the clerk will probably direct him elsewhere, maybe to Walmart in Belleville, but the clerk points him to the aisle 5. There are lots of them, but the track phone seems to be the cheapest. There's no activation fee, and it comes with destructions, aka instructions. I like to call them destructions because, Danny takes his wallet out of his hip pocket, ready to pay with his Visa, and then asks himself if he was born dumb or just grew that way. He puts it back and takes his folding money out of his left front pocket instead. He pays with that. The clerk is a young guy with acne and a scruffy soul patch. He gives Danny a grin and asks him if he's going to kick some dickens on Tinder. He calls Danny bro. Danny has no idea what he's talking about, so just tells the clerk he doesn't need a bag. The young guy says no more, only rings Danny up and gives him his receipt. Outside the door, Danny drops the receipt in a handy trash can. He wants no record of this transaction. All he wants is to report the body. The rest is up to people who investigate things for a living. The sooner he can get this business behind him, the better. The idea of letting it go entirely never crosses his mind. Sooner or later, that dog, maybe with others, will tip the barrel over to get at the meat beneath. He can't let that happen. Someone's wife or daughter is buried behind the abandoned station. What are you gonna do about that? That is cray-cray. All right. Just checking the time. We're good. 8. Two miles down the road, he parks in a little rest area. There are 2 picnic tables and a porta-john. That's the whole deal. Danny pulls in, opens the blister pack, the track phone came in, and scans the instructions. They are simple enough, and the phone comes with a 50% charge. Wow, that's a lot. 3 minutes later, it's live and ready to go. Danny considers writing down what he wants to say and decides there's no need. He's going to keep this brief so nobody can trace the call. His first thought was the Belleville PD, but that's in a different county, and he knows the emergency number for the Kansas Highway Patrol It's posted in the Wilder High School office and in the halls of both the old and new wing in schools all across the state, Danny supposes. Excuse me. Nobody says it's in case of an active shooter because no one has to. He touches star 47. It rings just a single time. Kansas Highway Patrol. Do you have an emergency? I want to report a buried body. I think it must be a murder victim. What is your name, sir? He almost gives it. Stupid. The body is located behind an abandoned Texaco station in the town of Gunnell. Sir, may I please have your name? You go up County Road F, you'll come to a rise. The gas station is at the top. Sir, just listen. The body is behind the station, all right? The dog is chewing on the hand of whoever is buried there. It's a woman or maybe a girl. I covered her hand with a trash barrel, but the dog will get that off pretty soon. Sir, I need your name and the location of your call from Gunnell, County Road F, about 3 miles, and from highway behind the Texaco station. Get her out of there, please. Someone will be missing her. He ends the call. His heart is trip-hammering in his chest. His face is wet with sweat, and his shirt is damp with it. He feels like he's just run a marathon, and the burner phone feels radioactive in his hand. He takes it to the trash barrel between the picnic tables, dumps it in, thinks better of it, fishes it out, wipes it all over his shirt, and tosses it in again. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that. He's 5 miles down the road before recalling, also from some TV show or other, that he maybe should have taken out the SIM card, whatever that is, but he's not going back now. He doesn't think the police can trace calls made from burner phones anyway, but he's not going to risk going back to the scene of the crime. What crime? You reported a crime, for God's sake? Nevertheless, all he wants is to go home and sit in front of the television and forget this ever happened. He thinks about eating the lunch he packed, but has no appetite. Now that his drinking days are over, Danny doesn't sleep in even on the weekends. Sunday morning, he's up at 6:30, eats a bowl of cereal, and turns on the KSMB morning report at 7. The big story is a 9-car pileup on I-70 west of Wilson. Nothing about a body being discovered behind an abandoned gas station. He's about to turn the TV off when the Sunday morning anchor, who probably needs to show ID to get a beer in a bar, says, "This just in. We have a report that a body has been discovered buried behind an empty building in the small town of Gunnell, not far from the Nebraska state line. People have closed off a county road just north of town, and the site is under investigation. We'll update this story on our website and on the evening news." Danny goes to the station's website several times as the morning progresses, also the website of KAAS out of Salina. At 1:15 the KAAS website adds a 40-second clip of police cars blocking the entrance of County Road F. There's one other addition to the story he saw on the morning newscast. The body is said to be that of a woman, which isn't news to Danny. He goes across the trailer park to see Becky. He gets a nice hug from her daughter, a 9-year-old cutie named Darla Jean. Becky asks if he wants to go out and get a bag of burgers at Snack Shack. "You can take my car," he says. "I want to go too," Darla Jean says. All right, Becky says, but you go and change your shirt first. That one's all smutty and dirty and stuff. She doesn't need to change, Danny says. I'll just drive through. They get the burgers, plus fries and limeades, and eat in the shade behind Becky's trailer. It's nice there. Becky has a jacaranda tree that she has to water all the time because she says this kind of flora don't belong in Kansas. He asks if there's something on his mind because she twice has to repeat things that she's told him. Either that or you're going senile. Just thinking about what I've got on for next week, he says. You sure you're thinking about Margie? Talking to her yesterday, Danny says. She thinks her boyfriend's gonna pop the question. Are you still carrying a torch for her? Is that it? Danny laughs. Not likely. Danny, Darla Jean shouts, watch me do a double somersault. So he does. That night, KSMB has a reporter on the scene. She looks unsure of herself. Definitely, we can help. She's standing in front of the police cars blocking County Road F from the turnpoint. Following an anonymous tip, FHP troopers were called to a deserted gas station in the town of Gunnell late yesterday afternoon. They discovered the body of an unidentified female buried behind the station, which, and then she consults her notes and brushes hair out of her eyes, which closed in 2012 when Route 119 was widened to 4 lanes. If the woman has been identified, KHP isn't saying. Certainly, her identity won't be released to the press pending notification of her next of kin. Police are not saying if she was murdered either, but given this isolated location, she shrugs as if to say, what else? Back to you, Pete. She'll be identified soon enough, Denny thinks. The important thing is, he hasn't been ID'd. He is just an anonymous tipster. My good deed for the year, he thinks, and who says no good deed goes unpunished? But then, just to be safe, he knocks on wood. 11. Pat Grady shows up on time for work every day for the following week. Danny dares to hope Pat's learned his lesson, but he'll never be the worker Jesse Jackson is. As the old-timers used to say, that young man knows how to squat and lean. On Friday afternoon, Danny is using a long neck mop to clean the tops of the hanging fluorescents in the main office when a dark blue sedan pulls into the faculty parking lot. A woman in a white shirt and blue slacks gets out from behind the wheel. She hangs a satchel-sized purse over one shoulder. A man in a black sport coat and saggy-ass dad jeans gets out from the passenger side. Danny takes a look at them as they walk toward the high school's front doors and thinks, I'm hot. He leans the mop in the corner and goes to meet them. The only thing that surprised him about this arrival is his lack of surprise. It's as if he was expecting it. We've been expecting you. He can hear faint rock music playing through the speakers in the gym. Jesse and Pat are down there cleaning up the crap that always appears when the bleachers are rolled back and collapsed against the wall. Plan is to revarnish the hardwood next week, a job that always gives Danny a headache. Now he wonders if he'll ever be here next week. telling himself that's ridiculous, telling himself that he's done nothing wrong, doesn't help much. The catchphrase from some old sitcom comes to him. You got some splaining to do. Is that Lucille Ball and her old man? Hard to say. The woman opens the outside door and holds it for the man. Danny leaves the office and walks down the front hall. The newcomers are in the lobby, standing by the trophy case with the blue and gold Wildcat Pride banner above it. The woman looks to be in her 30s, dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. She's got a pistol on the side of her belt, the butt turned outward. On the right side is a badge. It's blue and yellow with the letters KBI in the middle. She's good-looking in a severe way, but it's the man who draws Danny's attention. Although he can't initially say why, later it will occur to him that you instinctively recognize a nemesis when one appears in your life. He'll try to dismiss the idea as bullshit, but he's clear on what went through his mind, even as he approached them. Watch out for this guy. The male of the team is older than the woman, but how much is a question? Danny is usually good at guessing ages within a few years, one way or the other, but he can't get a handle on this guy. He could be 45, he could be pushing retirement, he could be sick or just tired. The peninsula, of course, wavy hair in which red and gray are equally mixed, comes down almost to a top line in his forehead. It's combed back into what looks to Danny like a jumbo widow's peak. His skull gleams creamy, embellished white on either side of it. His eyes are dark and deep set with bags beneath. The black sport coat is fading at the elbows, like it's been dry cleaned dozens of times. He also has a KBI badge on his belt, but isn't carrying a gun. If he were, Danny thinks the weight of it might pull his dad jeans right down to his ankles. That's why you gotta wear one of those rib ones. Exposing a pair of billowy old fella boxes. He has no belly in front, no hip on the sides, and if he turned around, Danny thinks those jeans would sag on a no ass. That is the particular property of so many skinny-built white men from the Midwest. All he's lacking is a skull pouch pushing out his lower lip. The cop steps forward holding out his hand. Daniel Coughlin? I'm Inspector Franklin Jalbert, Kansas Bureau of Investigation. This is my partner, Inspector Ella Davis. Jalbert's hand is hard and his grip is taut, almost as if he's running a fever. Danny gives it a token shake and lets go. The woman doesn't offer her hand, just gives him an assessing stare. It is as if she can already see him doing that sad dance known as the perk-boy, but this doesn't bother Danny the way Jalbert's gaze does. There's something dusty about it, as if he's seen versions of Danny 1,000 times before. Do you know why we're here? Ella Davis asked. Danny recognized a sort of question, like asking a guy if he's still beating his wife, which there's no right answer. Why don't you tell me? Before either of them can reply, the door at the end of the old wing creaks open and booms shut. It's Jesse. We finished the sweeping where the bleachers were, Danny. You should have seen and he sees the man in the fading black sport coat and the woman in the blue pants and stops. Jesse, why don't you? The door squeaks and booms again before Danny can finish. This time it's Pat. Jeans low, riding, hat turned around backward, totally down with it. Down with it? He stands just behind Jessie, looking at Danny's company with his head cocked to one side. I want to add, like a curious cocker spaniel. He sees the woman's gun. He clocks the badges, and a slight smile starts to form. Danny tries again. Why don't you two get an early start on the weekend? I'll punch you out at 4. For reals? Pat asks. Jess asks if he's sure. Pat gives him a don't fuck this up thump on the shoulder. He's still smiling, and not because the weekend's starting an hour early. He likes the idea that his boss might be in trouble with the po-po. I'm sure if you left any of your stuff in the supply room, pick it up on your way out. They leave. Jesse throws a quick look over his shoulder, and Danny is touched by the concern he sees in it. When the door booms shut, he turns back to Jalbert and Davis and repeats his question. Why don't you tell me? Davis skirts that. Well, we just have a few questions for you, Mr. Coughlin. Why don't you take a little ride with us? The Manitou PD has kindly set aside their break room for us. We can be there in 20, maybe even T-minus 20. Danny shakes his head. I promised those young men I'd punch them out at 4. Let's talk in the library. Ella Davis shoots a quick look at Jalbert, who shrugs and gives a smile, momentarily exposes teeth that are white. So no skull, Danny thinks, but so small they are no more than pegs. He grinds them. Danny thinks, that's what does that. I think the library sounds just about fine, Jalbert says. It's this way. Danny sets off down the hall, but not leading them. Jalbert is on his left side, Davis on his right. When they're seated at one of the library tables, Davis asks if Danny minds having their little talk recorded. Danny says he doesn't mind. She dips into her purse, brings out her phone, and sets it on the table in front of Danny. Just so you know, she says, you don't have to talk to us. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say. Jalbert flips 2 fingers up from the table, and she stops at once. I don't think we have to give Mr. Coughlin... Say, can I call you Danny? Danny shrugs. Either way. I don't think we have to give him the Miranda as of now. He's heard it before, haven't you, Danny? I have. He wants to add the charge was dismissed. Margie agreed. By then, I'd quit drinking and hassling her, blah, blah, blah. But he thinks Jalbert already knows that. He thinks these two may have known who made that trip call for a while. Long enough to dig into his past, long enough to know that Margie taking out a restraining order on him was an issue. They're waiting for him to say more. When Danny doesn't, Davis rummages in her almost a satchel and brings out her electronic tablet. She shows him a photograph. It's of a track phone in a plastic bag, which has been tagged with a date. It was discovered in the name of the officer, G.S. Lang, KPI Forensics, who found it. Excuse me, but did you buy this phone at the Dollar General store? On the Bayfield Road? In the town of Thompson? Davis asks. There's no point in lying. This pair will have shown the Dollar General clerk his mugshot from when he was arrested for violating the restraining order. He sighs. Yes, I guess I should have taken out that card thing from the back. Wouldn't have mattered, Jalbert says. He's not looking at Danny, he's looking out the window at Jessie and at Pat, who is laughing his ass off. He gives Jessie a whack on the shoulder and heads for his car. The officer who took your call had the phone's number on her screen and the cell tower it pinged on. I didn't think it through, did I? No, Danny, you really didn't. Davis gives him an earnest look, not smiling, but letting him know she could smile if she gives her more. Almost like you wanted to be found out. Is that what you wanted? Danny considers the question and decides it's idiotic. Nope, just didn't think it through. But you admit you made the call, right? The one about the location of Yvonne Wicker? That was her name, the dead woman? Yes. Well, he's in for it now and knows it. He doesn't believe they can arrest him for the murder. The idea is absurd. The worst thing he ever did in his life was to stand outside his soon-to-be ex-wife's house and yell at her until she called Wichita PD. The first 2 times they just made him leave. The 3rd time, this was after she'd taken out the restraining order. They arrested him and he spent a night in county. They're waiting for him to go on. Danny crosses his arms and says nothing. He'll have to do some explaining, no doubt about it, but dreads it. So, you were at the Texaco Gunnel, Jabbert says? Yes. How many times? Twice, Danny thinks. Once when I was asleep and once when I was awake. Once. Did you put a trash barrel over that poor girl's remains to protect it from animal depredation? Jalbert's voice is low and gentle, inviting confidences. Danny doesn't know the word depredation, but the context is clear. Yes, there was a dog. Do you know what happened to it? It was destroyed, Ella Davis says. The responding officers couldn't discourage it, and they didn't want to wait for animal control from Belleville, so... Jalbert puts a hand on her arm, a gentle hand, and she stills at once, even coloring a little. You don't give information to a suspect, Danny thinks. He knows that even if she doesn't, and he thinks again, watch out for this guy. Davis swipes her tablet, presumably to another photo. Do you own a white 2010 Toyota Tundra pickup? It's a 2011. I park it around back by the school buses, where they haven't seen it, but they know the make and model, and he knows what the picture will show even before she shows it to him. It's his truck in the lot of the Dollar General where he bought the phone. The license plate is clear. I was looking everywhere for where this soundtrack is because we only have 3 minutes and 34 now counting seconds. Now I see it. I was gonna try to move it up to the closing song. Work with me here. Come on, we're almost there. Come on now. Yeah. This is crazy. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed story time tonight. We almost did the Halloween hijinks, which is okay. I like that one. It's the intro song for us. But yes, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Oh my goodness, I think I might have accidentally erased my ending song, but that's okay. I'll find it in T-2 seconds and counting. I'm just gonna wiggle my nose, twiddle my eyebrows, blink my eyes, nod my head, and poof! It was right there under my nose the whole time. Can you believe it? Anyways, that was the amazing and wonderful Mr. Stehen King with You Like It Darker stories. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I don't know about you, but I've been really enjoying this book by Mr. Stephen King. Best of all writers, and my favorite horror stories, aka scary movies, have been by Mr. Stephen King. But thank you guys so much once again for hanging out with me tonight. It was a pleasure hanging out with you and entertaining you. I hope you were entertained. Thank you to all my friends out there, wherever you may be listening, Beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night when it's Trippy TikToks with me, TessaTNT. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a bit better, and together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. Hopefully you come back tomorrow night for trippy TikToks, crazy TikToks, scary TikToks. I don't know. There's so many mind-blowing TikToks out there. I don't have the time to share all of them. Seriously. If you're out there and you enjoy what I'm doing and you have the means, ability, or initiative, or, like I said, if you believe in what I'm doing, or you like hanging out with me, please sling or fling some green my way. It would really help me to keep this mothership afloat, to pay for broadcasting on video, radio, whatnot. TessaTNT at Cash App, PayPal at TessaTNT, PO Box 663, Bayfield, Colorado 81122. Night night.